the site smokes and just.
What's going on, everyone? These two are out here talking strategy, talking shop. You love to hear it. We got Eeiu here joining us. Pleasure to have you here, man. First time.
Yeah.
I've been informed.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, man, you know that game was nutty. But the stakes and everything that was up for grabs there. No Bang said earlier that you guys don't really try to focus on that as a team, to worry about the pressure in the moment. But as an individual, right, it has to feel a little nerve-wracking. You're like, oh my God, we got to win this game or else this could be cooked.
Yeah, I mean, going into the day, I remember C9 made like the crazy comeback last night, and I remember telling my team in like our group chat, I'm like, yo, tomorrow is the game that means everything. It determines whether we make champs, whether we make playoffs. Like, bring everything you have. I popped melatonin at like 9 p.m. I got 14 hours of sleep. I was ready to come play today.
You woke up, had some oatmeal in the morning, a good cup of coffee, you were good to go.
Yeah.
All right, love to hear it.
So your teammates were describing kind of what was happening in your first few games coming back from Shanghai as a slump. What were the discussions like after that last loss, then going into the MIBR game? Did you feel like there was a certain thing you were changing in scrims or in the discussions as a squad that kind of flipped the switch and made it feel like you were getting out of that slump?
Yeah, I think the big thing with our slump at the time is that it's different than like a lot of other slumps that people would usually find. It's like maybe like your opera is slumping or like your teammates just aren't shooting as well.
Sure. Our
slump was more so like, it felt like after our foot game, we like 13-3 them or something like that on the international stage. We had so much individual confidence after the win that, you know, people started doing more solo peaks, people started doing more like risky plays. We always have this system on our team kind of where anybody can go for any play if they want, but we always rely on our teamwork and we always like fall back on it. So I think the big thing that kind of caused our slump in the first place and that we kind of came back on was our team play just kind of faltered. So like when we'd be in these scenarios where they're flooding back of A on bind and we have to have like one big team fight, you know, wait for the Dizzy to come up for like 3 seconds, flash, we all peek. We weren't doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So like they would come out backside, you know, one guy would be holding, he would die, the default guy would just be sitting there, the U-Haul guy would be sitting there. We didn't focus on the team play that kind of got us here in the first place, and we were relying too much on mechanical skill, I'd say.
Yeah, the like coordination, microcoms, that kind of stuff, maybe
exactly.
not being there.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask as well, you guys play more Fade comps than basically like any other team, especially in Americas. How much of playing into that agent more is about you being personally strong on the agent and something you're really comfortable with versus it being like what Zix and the team thinks is like the optimal read on the game right now?
Yeah, I mean, even like last week, I've been telling Tony pretty much like since stage 1, like I'm trying to play Breach, let me play some Sky, let me like change up the agents.
Oh, so you're in Fade jail a little bit.
Well, no, I love Fade.
Okay.
I love Fade Sova. Fade Sova are my favorite agents, but I love Breach as well. You know, he doesn't let me flex to Gecko either. I mean, I think a lot of it is definitely playing to our strengths. I think Tony's one of the coaches in the game where he knows what certain players are good at, and he knows basically like you have to play to your team's strengths. That's how it was back in League of Legends when he used to coach the LCS. So, you know, if he thinks he has a player that's really good on Fade or really good on Sova, he's going to try to incorporate, like, say, our Bind comp, for example. Back when we were running our comp on Bind, I think the meta was still Sky. So if people did want to run Gecko, it was Sky Gecko. But the way that we play Bind, it just doesn't feel like the Gecko is that high, or the Sky is that high pressure. So, like, take our Bind game even today. The Sky flashes, the Sky Dog, it doesn't really feel like it does too much in terms of, you know, pressuring you on attack, pressuring you on defense. So, you know, I'm good on Fade. We were running the Brimstone. We were like, all right, let's try running Fade on Bind. And then, you know, you got the Tether Brim ults that we do. The Prowlers and the Eyes have high re-clear chance. You know, we have like very hard to defend XX, I would say, because, you know, the Fade's going alone with double Prowler. He's self-sufficient. It's just, yeah, I think we play to our strengths, but I mean, maybe you'll see some like Breach or Sky, maybe some Gecko if they let me.
Okay.
You've become your own enemy. You got too good at Fade, and now we won't let you play the agents you want.
I feel like as a guy who does play Initiator online whenever I just solo, I'm just going to listen to you. I'm just going to learn a little bit from you. You seem to know a thing or two.
Yeah, watch some demos.
Yeah, watch some demos with you. You know what I mean? Pick up a few things. We do have a Twitch chat question that came in from Odd Cod. Okay, that's a great name. What are you most afraid of in the upcoming playoffs? Any teams that maybe that you are, you know, not particularly looking forward to playing against, or maybe looking forward to?
I mean, I'd say like the biggest thing for us going into playoffs was just to get there. I think for us to qualify to champions, if I forget how it works exactly, but if Sentinels, Lev, and G2 make it into the top 3 of playoffs, then we'll like auto-qualify no matter what.
Yeah.
But we're also the 4th team that's in playoffs, and I believe playoff is like a 6-team bracket, right?
Yeah.
It is.
So pretty much our only chance of not qualifying for playoffs, I think, is if Cloud9 and Crew both get top 3. Because with any other scenario, we're either qualifying through points or we're going to be top 3. But our goal, honestly, in playoffs is to get first seed. I think the biggest thing Boosty said coming into champs last year was that if you have the first seed, it's like really OP because there's no skipping groups or anything like that, but you don't have to play the first seed of other regions, which is like, you know, crazy good teams. I mean, even Paper X looks like they're back in crazy form. So yeah, we're gonna look to try to get first seed, but we're not really worried about playing like any, you know, crazy team or something like that. I mean,
So the fear is more having to rely on the champions points to get you guys into.
No, I mean, I'm saying like we don't really have too much fear to worry in general because we have like that safety net of champion points. I personally want to play Sentinels. We've never been able to beat them. John's beat me like what 2-3 times now. So like I want to beat John. I want to see if I can like, you know, overcome Sentinels.
Yeah.
That's a team I want to look forward to playing against, but not really like a team we're scared of, no.
Hey, I respect that, man. Thank you so much for the question there. And let's go ahead and take a look at the standings here for week 3 of stage 2 as it comes to a close. And there it is. 100 Thieves have locked in their spot in the playoffs. That has to feel good to see that in green, right?
Look at the 6th seed. 6th seed, are you kidding me?
Yeah, with the 11 champions points.
Yeah, 6th seed.
Gotta lock in for playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm kind of curious if Crew, let's say if Crew loses and you guys win, does that change it a little bit? Or I'm not a bracketologist.
It could, but it doesn't matter so much unless you get the 1 or 2 and you get to skip the single limb round. If you're in single limb, it just kind of changes who your opponent is.
Yeah.
So we should know our opponent, right? Are we playing G2? Or?
Seeding can still change though, because there is another week of play for a lot of the teams.
Oh my God, yeah,
There's
you're
seeding
right.
week.
It's seeding week. Let's go. Seeding week. All right, there. Well, we have 3 more days left in stage 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you guys are going to be watching next week for seeding week. We're going to turn into a thing, I promise you. So on Friday, you got action starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and it is going to be Cloud9 taking on Crew Visa, which should be an exciting matchup. A little bit of a preview heading into playoffs, if you will. Should be an overall exciting game. And of course, for that one, make sure you guys are right here joining us right at VCT Americas. But yeah, I mean, Eeiu, I want to thank you so much for your time, man. Absolute journey you've gone through. What have you learned from this process, being a part of 100 Thieves, being in VCT Americas? This is first season, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, that's right. So how has this experience been for you? Because you've been competing for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, Americas has been like pretty generous, honestly. I'm not gonna lie to you. Tier 2 last year was like grueling in the sense of we played a lot of games last year that didn't really mean much, and then we had to go to like pretty much 2 big tournaments, which was our Brazil qualifier on M80, and then we had like the very, very big tournament at the end in Ascension, which we got to the grand finals for. Having like this entire year where we grinded, we took like a max of like 2 days off the entire year, worked so hard, just to not make it at the end of it is like,
yeah,
that is heartbreaking, and I'm not gonna lie, Americas has been like a blast. A lot of the games are like fun to play. You have a week to prep perma, and like, you know, playoffs make sense and all this stuff. You get champions points. So, I mean, I've learned a lot.
Fun.
Yeah, I learned a lot about like how different teams play and like different systems and stuff like that. And I know how to play against other teams better than some. But I think like the biggest thing is just like playing with these group of guys is so fun. I'm not gonna lie. Probably my favorite team I've ever been on. I mean, like, everybody loves each other. You know, we're all like a good team. We all bond after prac and everything. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, having a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Hell yeah, man.
Do you feel like you've been able, because I feel like a lot of rookie players come into the league and feel like it's all about learning. It's leaning into what can my coach, what can my IGL teach me. But whenever I've talked to you, I feel like you have so many ideas about the game and so many strong opinions and stuff. Do you feel like you're putting in a lot of input into the team and shaping who 100 Thieves is?
Yeah, 100%. I think I have like a very strong idea on how the game should be played, and I have like a pretty good read on like a lot of teams while we're playing. So Boosty is like our huge caller. Occasionally I'll call like an adaptation to something, or I'll call a strat that I think really works, or I'll say like what the enemy team's about to do. Like, I think like one of the last rounds on Ascent, I saw like the M2 smoke after they just smoked M1, and like recycling an M2 smoke into an M1 smoke, and then we had no cat pressure. I was calling like, they're about to exec A, they're about to exec A on an A split. Peter knifes cat, hits like 3, we just hold down A. I think that was like a flawless round.
Yeah,
but
it was, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I think a big thing is like, I don't feel like I'm learning a lot in the sense of like individual play. I'm more so learning how to play against specific teams, because honestly, like playing on Gen.G the first year before franchise started, it was like I was playing the same teams to begin with anyway back in NA. It was very hard. I'm playing hard opponents. Ascension was also hard, so I mean, it's just fun, honestly. I'm just having a lot of fun.
It's so cool to see you here now, because I feel like both the teams you were on before, with that Gen.G roster, you guys got so close. With M80, you got so close to being up top. But now you're here, man, and congrats on playoffs.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
dude.
Thank you. Stage 1 win, playoffs, I'll take it.
Hey, you know, we'll take it, baby. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you, brother. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you. But that's going to do it for us here. Congratulations once again to 100 Thieves locking up that last playoff spot. Thank you once again to Eeiu, as well as Mimi, the entire crew, for joining us this week. It has been an absolute pleasure. But don't forget, we got more games coming at you next weekend. Plenty more left to play. We'll catch you then. Take care, folks. Have a great week.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, bud.